Cleaning and cleansing your sexual energy. I thought this was so weird when I was working with a Tantra coach end of last year, and when she assigned me to do this, I was like, I don't want to do this. I did it earlier this year. I had all this stuff sitting there, the salt, the essential oils. There's candles, but I don't have those here. The siete plantas, or these are the real ones, amargas, the like sour plants. As guys, women do as well, women even more, we pick up different things from our sexual partners. From just events we're at, people we're sharing energy with, if we go to a concert. I had never done anything like this. Like I said, I was super resistant to doing it. I had this stuff sitting on my TV stand over there for months. I was like, I don't want to do that. It's too woo-woo, it's too hippie, it's too weird. But we actually hold things, and I'll share a little bit about my story and then share why it's important. When I started doing this, I didn't believe in it, and then one day I just decided to do it. Got recommended this by a teacher I worked with last year in 2024, and started doing this process, mixing the essential oils with the salt, getting in the shower, lighting a candle, setting an intention. There's more details. I can send you the rest of the information that's free here. And started scrubbing from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head. And again, thought this was weird, thought this was woo-woo, didn't believe in it, didn't want to do it. The process I did was 8 days, and stuff just kind of came up. I remember, a woman I dated, I was in a relationship with 10 years earlier or the year before, different things. Some women that were just lovers, that were just casual sex, some that were beautiful, intimate relationships that lasted years. And I started to feel things fall away. Thoughts that I thought were mine weren't really mine, where my mind became so much more quiet after doing this. I noticed after about 3 or 4 days, and by the end of it, 8 days in, I felt like a different person. I felt like I did, and if you've watched this channel for a while, you've seen me talk about ayahuasca and plant medicine, especially ayahuasca. I feel like I did 5 or 10 ayahuasca ceremonies just around sex. And it's wild, and it's not some metaphysical woo-woo concept that we actually hold, depending on what you believe. Again, I was skeptical. You read these things like you hold someone's energy for 7 years, but these processes can accelerate getting rid of those things. But yeah, just felt like I washed all this stuff, literally like I washed it down the drain. I even had something come up, a friend of mine, a male friend who had issues with, again, very weird, but being like possessed or having like spirits on him. And I had, during this cleanse, during this scrub, felt those things just wash down the drain, and had thought patterns, fears, beliefs about things, connections to women, or beliefs about women in general, that after a few days from going in there and doing the process in the bathroom to coming out, it was like I was rejuvenated. Again, I don't know if anyone was more skeptical than me to do it. I was resistant to do it, but we hold these things and we do share energy with people. And like I said, we share energy just being in a large crowd. I have an ayahuasca retreat coming up in about 3 weeks. I'll do more or less the same process before that, or before I go to ayahuasca, that I did. When did I do this process now? I did it for 8 days in June or July, and then I did a couple random, one here, one there, just where I felt intuitively called. Why is this important? What you have on you, what you have stuck to you, what you have unhealed, untransmuted, unalchemized, unintegrated, however you want to look at it, that stuff stays with you. You're passing it on to the next person. And if you're the kind of guy that's serious, that knows there's something more, that there's a bigger, deeper commitment, that wants a better relationship, wants to improve their current relationship, wants to create a family, these are things that are just like dead weight, that are holding you back, that are slowing you down. And it's interesting, so I was talking with someone today, we might think so much, or it makes rational sense to do a cleanse. I did a parasite cleanse earlier this year. And if you've been on this journey enough and you do biohacking and different things, you can do blood levels, you can see that there's inflammation markers, that there's mold, that there's heavy metals in the body, in the blood, in the urine. And that kind of makes sense. You can prove that. There's data behind it. And sometimes we can spend time regurgitating, or I got to wait till my diet's perfect. So we think of doing a physical cleanse, but we don't always think of doing an emotional cleanse, a mental cleanse, energetic cleanse. But this stuff really, really, really works. It's funny as I'm smiling, kind of laughing as I'm sending this now, because if you would have asked me 6 months ago, I'd been like, I don't know, it's too woo-woo, it's too girly, I gotta rub all these essential oils on me. This is weird. You know, is this real? Do I really have this stuff? But yes, it's very, very real. And it's wild to think of where you could be blocked in your life. And if you're blocked around money, if you're blocked around sex, or you think you have these fears or these limitations, and just to feel those things flush away. So many times in life, you know, we think we're not where we want to be because we're not trying hard enough, we're not pushing hard enough, or on the other extreme, we can give too much weight to these invisible forces. They can be forces where I got this block in my left leg. I think it's from 7 past lives ago. And we can get into too much esoteric stuff that's not really tangible, not really provable, but some of it can be very, very, very real. If you think about your own life, what could be holding you back in life, in your current relationships, in your current sexuality? Excuse me. I talked to a guy this week who'd been stuck in this repetitive cycle of weed and women and that combination, and how the sex feels so amazing, but you just keep chasing it, you just keep going for it. We can fall into these different, I wouldn't even say they're addictions, even though they can show up that way. They're really us numbing ourselves out. And there's certain things where we can say, well, I want to feel the pleasure, I want to feel the connection, but it's often the opposite. If we need, you know, wine or booze or weed to connect, what we're actually needing is we're trying to disconnect with ourselves in order to connect. When I started on this journey, especially at 29, I took, so 11 years ago, I took about a year with no alcohol, and I thought alcohol helped me connect, and I didn't realize that I was just that much afraid of connecting, of intimacy, of physical, emotional intimacy, more the emotional part. I was molested as a kid by a Catholic priest in the first couple of weeks at kindergarten when I was a kid. And I wasn't aware that these things wasn't aware that happened, first of all, but how much these things were shaping me and holding me back. And as guys, we can wear this mask, how perfect, Halloween, as I'm making this mask of fakeness, this mask of masculinity that we're putting on this front, but we're really just scared. And a lot of us, we don't have a space where we can necessarily talk about it. And men need a safe space, but at the same time, we need to be confronted, we need to be challenged. When you're wanting to find the deeper essence of what's true in you, you need to strip away what's no longer you. And the only way to do that, it can suck, it definitely sucks at times, is to get into the fire. To think of whatever limiting thought, feeling, belief, dependency, addiction, weed, drugs, porn, prescription, whether you have a prescription or not, these things that are like parasites. I did a parasite cleanse earlier. I'm gonna do more work on that next year. But like parasites that are holding us back, stealing our true potential. And doing these sexual cleanses, these energetic cleanses, are literally getting parasites off you, even if someone didn't mean to put them on you. Picking up some other girl's fear, limiting beliefs, fear around money. And we can be so hard on ourselves that we've done all this work. And we can beat up on ourselves, especially as guys, so much. And sometimes what we're carrying, bro, it's not even ours. And if you would have known better back then, you would have done something better. It's not your fault. However, it is your responsibility, whatever you're carrying, to shed that, especially before you go into a relationship or want to be a father, because whatever we don't clean off of our physical bodies, our energetic bodies, it stays with us. And those limiting beliefs, those fears, those things, whether call that mental, physical, energetic, doesn't really matter. Just they're there. If we don't clean those, transmute those, heal those, guess what? We get to pass on to generation after generation those fears to the families we create and the ones we love. Take care of your sexual energy and take care of your health, because without that, man, you don't have that much. Once you've lost your health, you realize that nothing else really matters other than that. Thanks for tuning in. See you soon.